Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Alex and Logan from Nicky North, and we're gonna talk about our latest release, Music to Work To.
Story time.
Story time. Gather around the campfire.
Our former music band teacher asked what our favorite song on the album was and why. So I think the easy answer for me, a lot of people would think, is Water Damage, because it's just...
I wouldn't.
Because it's a bass fest.
I would expect that.
I genuinely think Town is my favorite, and there's a good reason for that. When we started this project, there's actually a video on our Instagram of right there in the basement. I think Pete took it when he was just laying here. And you're on the keys, just playing some chords. I'm playing the bass riff to it, and I remember I'm just like swaying back and forth. We're like I'm pretty sure that was when I was really into talking like my life was a stream, and I'm pretty sure the caption was like comment wow below or something. Like I remember this extremely vividly. But anyway, why I say that was the first one, or my favorite one, is because it's the first one on the album, because it is the first one we wrote. The main components of that song are that keyboard part and the bass. Like there's some textural things that are in there, like the drum.
Very few, yeah. It was kind of like in the beginning, a lot of it was me just wanting to try out the keyboard, because I'm so used to playing guitar. We were just jamming with like the E synth, like or the E piano sound, so I had that chill hop vibe.
The actual bass and keyboard that's used on the final cut is what we did that very first night down here when we were playing around with it. I have a strong feeling that that's what happened, because I remember multiple times coming back to the list, like we've worked on say like 5 or 6 songs at this point, and it's like, okay, where are we at with these songs and these songs? And I'm like, dude, Town just sounds good as is. Like, I don't even want to mess with it. Like, what we did that first night, I think, is cool. So, I mean, I at least know I can hear mess-ups in the bass.
It's not perfect.
We got the idea, and we were like, okay, let's do a run-through. This was the first night we were trying this whole idea of making chill hop music. I'm pretty sure that, for the most part, that the bulk of that keyboard part and bass part are just raw. We did it right then and there. We played it for like an hour, and then we said, all right, let's track right now and see what happens.
We jammed a lot longer than like the song's like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
And what I did is just took the best parts of that jam. Like you can see where some parts I kind of like blended into the next part, but it's just us jamming for a while. It definitely took the least amount of time.
I just know at least like it was that night and that like hour or two of tracking it when we were jamming, and that's it. There was no going back and like overdubs, which makes I can still hear, like I said, I can hear mistakes, but I don't know, I like it. It's so raw. It's like how Wolfpack would do it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely a good band I hold in high esteem.
I like that. So I would say that's my favorite, and why. It's Town. It's the first one you hear. It starts with a
right,
and you're instantly like, okay, this is
I get the vibe.
Yeah.
I get the vibe. Yeah, it's definitely not like the rest of our stuff. But you know, it's fun to try new things.
For sure.
My favorite, you probably already know, is, what would you guess?
Chili Hop.
Nope, you're wrong. Get off this couch.
Natural One.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Natural One, electronic band I really like, Rat Attack. They have a lot of clips where they're playing the guitar notes and then they reverse the clips and then they bend it electronically. And that was the song I was trying out. You can hear that very early on in the song. But that's my favorite thing about, I don't know, and just the energy that Natural One has. It feels like you're about to face a boss. That's how I pictured it. You know, I'll definitely, like if I'm running a D&D campaign to get to the big bad guy. Do you remember how long we've been doing this? Like for Music to Work To, when it started?
Before we talked about it, like a second ago in the other room, I would have definitely said sometime last year. But now I know that that's not true. It's actually been, like I said a second ago, like
we almost 2 years. So what? Yeah. Because we started it in April 1st of 2021 and released it on February 23rd, I believe, yes.
Yeah, there's your notes.
And chill hop is, you know, just a fun art form. I listen to a solid amount of chill hop at work. Just because
I listen to it every day when I'm working.
Like what are some of the ones you were sending me? Like the Pokemon?
Yeah. Yeah. I've since found like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon that's really or Yu-Gi-Oh! Lo-Fi that's really nostalgic.
Lo-Fi, that's what it is. Because
Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon. What did Pete have? Like Pete,
he sent up Undertale the other day.
He did Undertale. Hollow Knight.
The reason why we wanted to try this idea was because I remember back just going to your old house for like house parties and stuff, and it was always on, like the little raccoon guy walking. And I remember I thought it was so cool. I don't know. I think we both, like you said, listened to it all the time, working. Just like we want to try our shot at this, and not to take away anything from like lo-fi artists. It was going to be an easier project to do than say something where we needed. Well, for one, we were going to put in way more time into it. Would need vocals, because there's no vocals in any of them.
Well,
except for the
what?
And maybe the soundbite from that old TV show. I don't want to say we just did it because we thought it would be easy, because it certainly wasn't easy, but it was definitely easier than some of the other projects. And then I remember a couple of times working on this where Pete definitely put in input on a few of the songs for sure. I remember one time Mark did come, we were working on stuff, and then it's like as soon as someone else gets headphones in, like we can't help it, like, because we all write these songs together, that like he's giving input. And I remember thinking like, dang, we're gonna get down a huge rabbit hole now. Like we were already almost finished at that point, and then it's like, shoot. But then we ended up revamping things, and I like the way everything turned out. But Natural One especially, the bass part I did was inspired heavily by My First Car by Wolfpack, because it's a lot of like octave notes and then a bunch of ghost notes more, just like for like a rhythmic flavor. And I mean, their version is really, really good. But that's the idea that I went for in that song. So it's interesting that we can both pull it like to one band or one kind of thing, and that's the product that came out of it.
That's cool. Yeah, that we have different tastes, very much so. I feel like that's what Nicky North is. We had a great question from John about Waldo and asking us who likes to pet him more. So I would say I altered the question a little bit. I'd say I pet Waldo the most, and I love the feel of his warm, soft fur. And
he's right over there. You can't see him because he's
off camera.
He's staring into our souls.
Yeah, it's just like he knows.
Like even right now, I don't know a lot of cats that just like to vibe in the area that people are in, but I could be wrong. Maybe there's other cats out there. The cats that I've lived with are not like Waldo.
Except when we're playing drums.
Sure, I would say even when I'm playing bass, he doesn't like to hang around.
Really? Even bass? Like, so anytime you're doing anything music related, like he's out.
Well, I think his ears are so sensitive to the low frequency, probably. But he likes to just be around the people. So he's a special cat and a little bit dog-like.
He's on the cover of the album, so he's
that
was a shining example.
That was my sister's question. What cat inspired the beautiful artwork? Obviously, it's Waldo.
And she knew it.
Can the camera see the Waldo mask?
Yes, 100%.
The black cat idea has kind of taken over some of, if not all of, like the Nicky North vibe and propaganda.
It's true, and propaganda. We all like cats, that's for sure. Everybody has in the band has a cat.
Except, I mean, like Pete lives here.
Pete lives with a cat. That's the same thing. Yeah.
When do you think that happened?
Finding Waldine was
the original.
Do you remember the original red cover with like the pictures of Waldo?
It was the outline of him, and then it was just filled in with different pictures of him.
Yeah. I would say from the very beginning, it was just us writing the music, and that was before I had any cats, because I had 6 of them. But
we probably just thought it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Let's just put a bunch of pictures of Waldo up there.
Yeah, because there's like a picture of a cat with just a crap load of pictures of Waldo within it, and it looks pretty funny.
And now every single album has a cat. It's not always
other
Waldo.
than the soundtrack.
Oh, true. Pembroke doesn't have
But
one.
that's a special, so we don't decide the album cover in that.
Shout out to Mark.
He helped you make that awesome video. Like, if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Check it out. It's on our Linktree.
And all I wanted from that, I was like, okay, can you come? And I was actually going to sit on this little couch. I was like, dude, just like film me playing the song. Like, that's cool. Not even just like a stationary shot. Or I was going to say, like, if it's a wide shot and you can, like, in the film of that shot, like, kind of like do some pans or something, or like a zoom in or zoom out, like, that's cool. And then he shows up with those lights and the big drop, and I was just like, I mean, I knew in my head, I was like Mark and I have been good friends for a long time. And it was like, he just directed me. He was like, is that what you're gonna wear? And I was probably wearing something like a t-shirt or something. And he was like, no, like, I need you to wear lighter clothes. Like, go put on a white shirt.
Really?
He was like,
Dang, dude, he took control.
he was a director. He really was. He was like, yeah, sit down for this part, and then for the second loop, I'm gonna have you stand up, and I'm gonna do some full shots, and I can already see it in my head. It's gonna look great, and it looked really good. And I was really happy that we could do Pembroke for him as like a thank you, because he put in so much work to that video.
He made the bass video for us, and then we were like, hey, we can do your soundtrack. We owe Mark a lot.
We owe Mark a lot, is what I'm thinking, and he was here helping us with photos yesterday. Mark, you
are the lifeblood.
You are the bones that are holding Nicky North together.
That's right.
And we'll definitely tag like his YouTube channel. Well, he doesn't have a YouTube, but I think
he has an
Vimeo.
Instagram. He has an Instagram.
And his video, the Pembroke video,
Vimeo. He does have a director page. He's that professional. I saw it.
We'll link that for sure. And obviously Water Damage, because I think the song is great, sounds cool, whatever, but he deserves every bit of praise for the video and how cool that part is.
Like the scene where there's the lights going back and forth. I love that. That's so cool.
And he had that whole idea. Like, we shot it once in just the blue lighting, and then we did another shot with like the more orange, like warmer lighting. And I didn't even necessarily know what he meant by it switching. I thought he just like would switch whenever. And then when I saw he was doing it up with the beat up like the hi-hat.
Yeah, the hi-hat. He does it to the hi-hat. It looks sweet.
And I remember showing that to Kurt. Who is another person that's helped us out a lot with
another important
projects. He was like, wow, how did he like flip the switch on the lights so fast, like in time? That's really impressive. Which just goes to give props to Mark of how seamless.
No, I didn't notice it, and then I went back and watched it and saw the same thing.
If you look really close, like you could probably tell
see it.
my fingers are a little different.
But it definitely does not just make it obvious on the first time.
The effect is 100% there.
It is amazing.
And it's cool.
In fact, I think Kurt sent us a question, didn't he?
Yep, Kirk Baglia, Akron, Ohio, but I can't remember. Like Fairlawn area it's Sand Run Records. He operates it all out of his home studio, which he spent a lot of time and a lot of effort on. It's amazing. He puts out great products. He's asking when the next single is coming out, which he tracked, mixed, and produced for us, basically. Also, like almost 2 years ago.
We're sitting on gold.
We take our time with stuff here. We have jobs. We only meet usually once a week. And it's usually for a couple hours.
But I think we're going to be trying hard here to make some more releases with singles. It'd be sweet to make an album, but we're going to try putting some more time into polishing and making some more music.
Yeah.
So.
And that's going to start with that next release.
Yep, the next release. It will be in April, 100%.
I'm over here like before the end of the year.
No, it will be April. We're just trying to get the finishing touches on the album art. That's literally all we're waiting on. And then push it out. And we just want to make sure that we have it out distributed before, give it some time.
We have some promotional ideas for that in terms of videos, which... I feel like we're making them more for us, not necessarily...
Yeah, a lot of this is just,
all of our music is just for...
Yeah, it's stuff we like to make, we all like to write music, so...
Like, we have projects and we chip away at them, and when they come out, and it's cool, and we could benefit from being a little bit better about timelines and less on, sitting down here trying to, make sure it's perfect, because, what is perfect?
Any musician who writes music probably can relate to that. It never feels like it's finished, so you just gotta keep changing it. Leonardo da Vinci, the great artist, he would even go back decades after and go back and add things to his paintings. He viewed all his artwork, even his big paintings, as just a continuous... they were never done, just because he learned new things about lighting. And it's just interesting to think that even his masterpieces, he would go back and just add things.
They're not masterpieces.
Yeah, they're not yet, because they're not. They're just work in progress every time. So.
And I don't mean to make it sound like I don't care. I I feel like the effort I put into our projects and music is like I've never written a song thinking like, oh, people will love this.
Yeah.
I'm really having a good time with this and I'm having fun writing it, so that's why I'm doing it. And if people gravitate towards that, that's cool.
That's amazing.
And that would be, it's not just cool, that would be really cool, but
It's not going to change your next song.
exactly, and it's not like
Your next song is just still, once again, going to be whatever comes out, whatever feels natural.
Right. Music to work to comes out. If like nobody likes it and listens to it, like I'm still game to write another music.
Stay tuned. Maybe we'll make something you like.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, that was a little too
Only
loud.
one way you're going to find out. Sorry, Waldo.
Too loud of a laugh for the boy. I guess we can talk about crowd favorites. We had some friends write in and say which ones they liked better. I would give a plug to another Akron band, Information. My fake cousin, John, is a part of that band.
Fake cousin. He's not real.
He's a real person. We've just called them our cousins for so long. And then I remember when we learned we weren't cousins, and it was like demoralizing.
Shattering.
At least for me. I think for the rest of them too. He reached out and said that DoorDasher was his favorite.
DoorDasher. That, interestingly enough, as I look through the stats all the time on the Spotify app, that DoorDasher is the one song on the entire album that got like radio plays, like on the Spotify radio.
I would say DoorDasher's a pretty close chill hop kind of song, which I think is the reason why some people gravitate towards it. There's a difference between what is your favorite and which one you think is like the best.
I agree.
For the longest time, and it still might be, I don't know, I think DoorDasher's really a strong contender for one of like the better pieces of them.
Interesting. I would say I'm in that way where Natural One's my favorite. I'd say Chili Hop is one of the ones that I feel like it feels like one of the best ones. Like in some of the videos, when I'm talking about that, I'll put Chili Hop back there just because it feels the most like a chill hop song.
If I was gonna imagine it being on there one day, which hey, maybe it will. We don't know, but the raccoon guy sitting there and typing away at his computer. I feel like one of those two are the ones I could hear. You know, you send it to those whoever runs that thing, whoever makes those live streams.
If you're watching,
yeah,
let us know.
Whoever makes those, that's when I could see them. One of those two, Chili Hop or DoorDasher. I could see them listening to it and being like, "Yeah, this is what we would do on this live stream."
DoorDasher, yeah. My question was, because I remember we made, like back in April of 2021, we just made some random ideas, and I think most of them made it to the end. We were just giving random names, like we were just throwing out random names for all of them, like Town. I mean, which kind of
Town has a reason.
Town has a reason, but some of the other ones, which are, like haven't even made it. Like, what were some of the names or songs that did not make it to this album?
The Plant, If Compromised.
Was there anything else?
Sunday Vivian. Remember
Sunday Vivian. So there were just some songs that we did that. And how did you get the name? Do you remember how DoorDasher came about?
I think when we were doing it, I'm just picturing now, I think I would have seen, so the raccoon guy,
yeah.
Chill Hop, he's just like walking on the street.
Yeah.
I was imagining, instead of him walking and the scenery changing around him, what if he's in a car, driving, and like, it's like the same thing, like he adjusts the radio, and it could be raining or something, and he stops, and maybe like gets out of the car, and the songs are still playing, the car's just sitting there stationary, just rumbling, the engine's going, and then he gets back in and keeps driving. And I was like,
that's a cool idea.
It's like a DoorDasher vibe to me, like, or Uber Eats or something, like they're going out listening to just like chill music while they go out and make deliveries, or Uber, like just picking people up, or something like that. And that's what I kind of, when I listen to that song, it makes me feel like I just want to like go on like a smooth drive, and I'm like, if I'm about to make some deliveries for some people, why not? Like, I don't know.
That's a cool description. I like that. I can visualize that.
Oh, okay. Before Chili Hop, which, fun fact, was the last song.
Added.
And I think one of the better ones.
Oh dang! I didn't know that.
I don't want.
It's the most chill hoppy.
Yeah,
I would say out of all of them, it is I just take out my piano and dee 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 dee, and then just like play with that multiple times. And there's like reverse clips of it and stuff. It was just fun to take a single lick and just make a song out of it.
And I think you came over like a week later, a couple days later, which is like, did you listen to it much? Like, can we put some bass down?
Can you track down the official bass for the song?
And we kind of just wrote it together then and tracked it. So there's another one, I guess, is pretty much one. See, I think I like Town a lot because I think it is one like take from the bass. I don't.
It
think
is
it's
the
too-
most raw of,
Yeah.
out of all. Like, you know, the
Chili Hop
genre is
is-
not. I would say that the genre is not meant to be raw. Like
No,
we
definitely not.
put our raw take on it. Like a lot of the genre, it's you know, the normal genre would be that, you know, it has to. It's like almost just a couple sound bites and they're playing, modulating it. But
and it repeats a lot.
yeah, then it repeats a lot. But I feel like we you know, it's not perfect chill hop. But in the sense that it would fit the genre, but I feel like it's our take on chill hop. It's like our
We're making
flavor. Like that's how I like it. I like it a lot. It's like I like chill hop, but sometimes chill hop like it is a little bit too repetitive, and I feel like the way we write some of these songs is like there's a little bit of new, interesting things that come in from time to time. A little bit more, I don't know, songy than it is just chill hop piano loop played back and forth.
I like that descriptor, songy.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels more like an actual with a verse and a chorus and a verse, as opposed to just chill hop. It's the same thing over. Maybe they drop out the bass, maybe they do that, and they just do it the entire time. Yeah, we got an actual bass guitar. Like I'm sure not all the chill hop songs have an actual bass. It's probably like electronic bass and stuff.
And like the idea of an instrumental song, even because we don't have any of those on our other stuff.
Yeah, zero. So it was kind of.
And none of these are like full on like an instrumental take, but it's kind of like heading in that direction, which I would like to see at least a little bit of. I think that's fun to do. And then it makes the other ones a little bit more special. When I look at the list, I think of like Town, Chili Hop, and DoorDasher being the most chill hoppy, I would say. And then like I think Enter Stage Right is a little bit into that vibe too.
Yeah.
And
Vanilla feels like it's in that vibe, but I do see where you're going with her.
obviously all of them are to a degree, because
Some of them stray far away though.
That's definitely fair. Like Water Damage.
Like Water Damage or Forest Song sounds more like someone's gonna break out with the, you know, sick, fresh new rap. Like,
Fresh new rap.
Yeah. You know, like
ignored.
a banger, definitely. I'm waiting for it. Yeah, stitch it on your TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. Throw down the best one. We'll
If
put
anybody
up on our
wants to
page.
sample a song and drop some sweet,
Yeah, anyone, feel
Hip-hop.
free. Any point, any of these songs, just let us know. Put our title, name in the description. You can do it as long as you're not like saying the worst things in the world with our name associated in there.
Would you say you listen to this while you work? Like
Yes.
now?
Oh, many
Like
times.
every day or?
Not every day. It was what I would do is make a bunch of mixes. Like we probably had a rough mix of the entire thing almost all the way through at least 6 months ago minimum. So I would have these mixes. I would share it with Logan. It's like a 28-minute, mix of us, all the songs in one MP3 file, just back to back, bleeding in and kind of testing out different ideas. And I listened to that a lot at work. Like I would just listen to the mix, just trying to, take notes while at work, because I work on the phone, so I have my headphones in still though. And even when it came out on Spotify, I was listening to it a bunch, and it sounded sweet. But then sometimes I'll listen to it so much, I'm like, okay, I can't listen to the same thing too much. Yeah, what do you listen to at work?
Most of the time, it's just like the classic lo-fi chill hop, and it's usually either the raccoon guy walking
Yeah.
or the one where he's sitting in his bed.
Okay.
I would say I do the sitting in the bed one more. 'Cause I listened to the other one so much that I started hearing repeats.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the radio one is that they definitely say it's a radio, but they'll go back and redo the same thing. Like they'll be, because I listen to it so much. Like I'll go find these playlists, like you said, like these videos. It's like a 3-hour chill hop video, and in the same video they loop the same song 3 times. Especially because I'm like I know that exact amount. Like, and I'll go back and listen. Like it seems like it's just like 30 minutes, and then they looped it for a 3-hour like
to make it
spring.
more
Yeah, it's like you tricky.
I can't listen to music while I'm working that really has lyrics and not something that I want to listen to so intently that it would take away from work. So most of the time that is like the chill hop in the background. I can't even listen to Wolfpack, honestly. Sometimes I
Really?
get
Wow.
too-
Even the instrumental Wolfpack?
I get too into it.
Wow.
sometimes. So it's like specific things, and usually the chill hop just does that for me. It exists in the back of my brain,
Yeah.
makes me work. Now that being said, another thing I found that I can really work to while listening is shout out to Lyle Snub on YouTube. Dude does big long plays of like these big RPG games, and he's done Skyrim. Of course, he's still playing it. He's been playing it for years.
Skyrim.
And I found his playlist just on like it's like a reel. I saw a reel of like a little clip of someone made of him playing it. So I looked up his channel. I started watching his playthrough. He's playing through the entire game, like every quest, every whatever. I can have that on in the background, and I've spent so many hours in Skyrim that it triggers, I feel like, the same part of like the back of my brain, just a little bit of sound to keep that part busy while I'm working, and I'm just as productive with that as I am with lo-fi. And I think it works because obviously I spent a lot of time in that game, but I haven't spent a lot of time listening to him. He knows so much about those games, which I can relate to.
I'm sure.
So like when something happens, he's like, oh, it's crazy that like, this happens and later in the game something else will happen. He reads all the books. So he has so much knowledge of this world that it's just, his commentary is so seamless. It just puts me at ease. And there are some times where he'll get a little louder and start laughing at something crazy that happened in the game. And then if it's like a good time to take like a break, I'll go back and watch that minute or two of that clip and see like what he was laughing at. But I do the same thing with Chill Hop sometimes if I hear something I really like. But most of the time those exist in the background and it's cool. And I've done music to work to. Like I've listened to that in the background while I'm working a number of times.
That's insane that you listen to Skyrim playthroughs at work. Like
no, Skyrim playthrough. It's just Lionel stuff, dude. No one else could do it.
And you can tell where it bled over your love for Skyrim in the final track. It's like that's it. Like
that's why. Okay, so we're gonna go through and say what the titles of the songs mean.
Let's start from reverse order. So it looks like that's it. What would you say, Logan? Why don't you take the stage? You're just talking about your favorite game.
So it's from Skyrim.
Diablo.
For those of you who haven't played Skyrim, the courier will run up and be like, I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only. And gives you a letter. And then he usually says some blurb about the letter. And then he goes, looks like that's it. Got to go. And that's the sound bite. I don't remember how we thought of the idea of doing that, but as like an ending to the whole album,
the farewell.
It's so perfect. Like
and just got to go.
Go. Yeah, and it's the voice modulation. So it's not just like a cut and paste.
Yeah, we played with it. We did what seemed funny.
Yeah.
Track 9, Forest. Forest song was when I first started making the song, or you had like the beat. I want to say, because then I made that do. I did that, and I was like, that sounds like something like you would hear in a Zelda song or something, like when you enter the forest. So if you want your game to have a good forest song, just hit us up, NickyNorthBand@gmail.com.
I think that'd be another good one for D&D too, like just traversing like
through the forest.
Tune, kind of, you're going through the forest.
Exactly.
That's interesting, because I definitely had no input on that name.
Chill beats to travel to.
That's good.
All right.
Vanilla.
Like for Vanilla, I was like, let's just take some easy piano chords and then just loop them. I was like, it was literally the thing I was making fun of before, of how they make it really simple. I was like, let me just try a similar idea. But it kind of grew, I feel like, as we made the song. Like, I just added more chords and Logan added his bass. Really, the whole song is just like chords, and then the thing I played with in that song was reversing piano clips. Like, it kind of has like a, reverse sound. But in the very beginning...
Well, I think we were tracking it, and I finished playing... It holds a note on it. I was like flicking at him or something. Like, I kept like plucking at it or something.
Yeah, you were like...
Pring, 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 pring. And then I just like... picked it up and screamed into the pickup like "Roar!" And then you can hear the "Roar!"
It was a little bit more squealy, but
yeah. That's another thing people understand the squeal. So if you listen really closely at the beginning of Vanilla, you'll be able to hear the
you can hear Logan screaming at his bass.
And it loops a couple times. So you think you picked the name Vanilla because, I mean, not to demean it because it's a good song, but the vibe was very vanilla.
The vibe was very straightforward. Anyway. The way the song at least began was very much just simple. And I was like, a lot of the songs, I mean, usually when we're writing songs, we give it a name, a working title, and then it might change, but Vanilla never changed. It was just Vanilla, and I knew exactly which one I was talking about, and then I was just like, no, Vanilla sounds good.
That's the second one I know for sure, which is
But
probably
you didn't
only
have much
that one.
time, right?
That one is just a one in that again, the first night we came up with the idea, that's when I did it, and we never
It was so quick.
and that one especially, like there's times where I'll listen to it and I focus on some of the things I think sound great in the bass. That I was able to do literally at the top of my head, and I'm like, oh, good job, Logan. Like, we'll pat yourself on the back. And then there's plenty of things where I'm like, they're mistakes, but I'm just like, I'm cool with it. Like, that's just,
Let it ride.
yeah. Like, I doubt anybody would really hear it and be like, oh,
No one
dude, I
really
heard
hear
that.
it, and it definitely gives it a little bit more authenticity.
It's raw.
It's
raw.
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 This is
It's
raw.
raw.
Natural One. Where does that come from?
I don't know. I truly don't know.
All right, back to Interstate. No, I was kidding. Natural One, I mean, is a D&D reference, and that's pretty much what we play all the time.
that makes sense.
You know.
I didn't know that's what it meant.
Are you serious?
I almost thought it was supposed to be like The Chosen One or something.
No.
Okay, I get it. So
instead of natural 20, it's a natural 1, and that's like the whole thing is like the way I remember I pictured it at the beginning was like there's a short scene, and it's like, oh, you walk into the dungeon and the dragon looms over you and says, what's the password, and then you roll and you get a nat 1, and then it plays Baines is like this song like, oh man, there, and the boss fight starts because you just rolled a natural 1.
that's cool. I feel like I don't really know Enter Stage Right either.
I was hoping you would know that one.
Huh.
The one thing I will say though, I don't, maybe if we erase what we just said, and what would be really cool is if we said, oh yeah, well, we named Enter Stage Right because in the recording it pans in from the right as water damage leaves on the left. I mean, I wanted it to
like
do that, where one song goes out and the next comes in. It was just random luck that I had made it go right. Like, we had called it Enter Stage Right, all this stuff, and I just by chance was like, what if this song came in from the right? And what if I had made it from the left? It would not be so cool. So now we're just going to say it's called Enter Stage Right because it enters from the right.
And I love two things about that. One is we're still, at least maybe not both in that sense, but in having this conversation, I feel like we're both finding little things about the whole project that we didn't necessarily know.
True.
Which I think is cool.
True.
And also, Stage Right is actually, like, from the viewer's perspective, the left.
Yeah, well then you're taking place in the band.
You're part of us.
Yeah, you're part of the band. You're up on
Nicky
stage.
North, and you're the Cardinal
And you're the Cardinal
Directions.
Directions. Just a random thing about Enter Stage Right that I think is interesting is we just took random clips of us dropping coins, or there's like a random clip of someone entering a car, and I just time aligned them on the grid and was like messing with the time, with the way it would go to the beat, and I think that was a fun one to make. I really like the idea of time aligning things that aren't usually time aligned.
Yeah, it just sounds cool.
Yeah,
and
like
you listen to it and you're like, what the heck? Like,
what is
that?
going on?
But I remember being in there and like flipping the bottle caps and moving things around
just
on the
recording
table.
it all and then just putting it in there. It was fun.
The name behind Water Damage. This basement is where Nicky North has pretty much been operating out of since we started. I think the first few practices were
I
probably
was at my
your
basement, and then we moved here shortly.
And that was like, we moved here even before like Pete had his real drums here. He was using like the electric kit.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot.
There's clips of just like the tiny little square we made in there, and then we've moved to different parts of the basement.
Yeah, we were over there, definitely.
So, and anyway, the basement itself is just an old house, and if it would rain really hard, there would always be leaks, floods, and it was getting progressively worse over the past couple of years for sure. And the water damage was frustrating. And I don't know why, other than that. It was one of those like working title things. We kind of had the idea. You first wrote the background stuff, kind
The
of.
synth, I think. It was like
the chord
synth
changes.
chord, and then you just, well, that's all I remember writing. Go on, because there's a lot.
And you did it. We were upstairs
Uh-huh.
because it was either messed up down here because of the water, or they were actually coming in to finally fix it. and, like,
Really?
doing that.
I forgot about that.
Because I remember we were upstairs and I was using the dolly bass upstairs and started playing around with it. I think you even had the first idea of maybe you should go like doom 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 doom. And then I was like, yeah, that feels good. And then I started, filling in a bunch of doodles and
Definitely.
things like that. And then I think we both decided like, you should just make this a bass feature song. And then it just kind of
It
happened.
really became that. Yeah.
I mean that was my song to take everything I've learned over the past 3 or 4 years, however long I've been playing, and just throw it all into one thing.
You can definitely hear like the Wolfpack inspirations in there. The Joe Dart.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a little bit of like Flea inspiration too, because he's definitely my second mic. I really tried in that song to do so you establish the main riff, the main bass line, and then it plays that for maybe 2 loops or something, and then that's when it shuts down for like the do 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 do, and then that's where I would say section 1 really starts.
Yeah,
and then
I
you
would
just have
agree.
3 blocks of that.
3 sections.
And
3
I
main
tried,
sections.
I tried to never repeat the same way of playing the riff, the same twice. Which, in the first section and a little bit of the second one is kind of just there's like more embellishments and more diddles and weird rhythms to get back around. But then towards the end, it's like it's still in the same key and chord progression, but it's not. It takes it way further than that. But in my mind, that's just how it came out when I was playing it for a long time.
That is definitely what I like most about the song. Is anytime I listen to it, like it's like the opposite of what I was saying. Like chill, like true pure chill hop is the same thing over and over. And that one, there was you just going ham with the unique.
It's a
bass
little
solo.
bit more each time. It's a little bit harder each time.
Except that it keeps the theme exactly.
Yeah.
It's all one related theme. I like it. I definitely one of the in my top 5 on the album.
Aww.
Willow and Waldo is named after first you got Willow, which is Angela's cat, and then we have Waldo, which is Logan's cat.
And that's
And together, together they come together. But you can hear in the song, not Waldo, but
Don't let him trick you.
the song features a cat.
Is this
If you listen closely. I just randomly looked up cat purring and I was like, okay, and then I took it in and then I just time aligned it, because it was obviously not to the beat. Yeah, and Chili Hop, we basically talked about it, and I could reorganize any of it.
Sounds like a chill hop song.
Yep, that's literally why. Well, it used to be, it was Chili Jump.
Chili Jump, yeah.
I named it Chili Jump, and then just, it was always Chili Jump.
It was.
It was always, because I was like, instead of Chill Hop, what about Chili? Instead of Hop, they jump. So, and then on the day we posted it on Spotify, for some reason, I was just like, Chili Hop, and I was like, send off, and I was like, well, it's too late now. So,
Same thing with the comma.
Same thing with the comma.
But we have to keep it that way now.
Logan wants to keep it consistent. Like, if you look at the album titles, it's Music to Work to Dash, comma, Volume 1, which I don't know why the system added that, but I was gonna secretly not post the comma and tell Logan I did, but I guess maybe we'll add a comma. We'll see.
And then there can be a song called Foundation Repair, and there can be one called Brisk Bounce or something, like instead of Chili Hop, get it? Brisk.
Yes.
It's hilarious as well.
All the songs on our next one, there'll be 10 of them, and they'll all be names that are based off the other name. And then for all volumes, it's just an alteration of the name.
That's a great idea.
It's always some kind of house repair that needs done, and then there's next one is city.
I was literally thinking that. Okay, so Town is named Town because that's the first night we started working on this project. We wrote
April 8th,
Town.
2021.
We wrote and tracked like a lot of stuff for that song.
Of us playing on the live.
And we wanted to put the idea of something we've seen in chill hop songs where it's like a voice that's very
hard to understand.
I don't want to say distorted, but like low and pitched down, I guess. So
definitely pitched down.
I think you just like had your phone recorder and you were just like, Logan, say something, like just say something. like really fast.
Yeah,
and,
I was just like on the spot. Say something now.
and I think it would just came out as like, get around.
He's like, get around, and then I was like, that's good enough. Because I just wanted to show you the idea I had. So
You pitched it down.
on my phone, we did. I think I just did it right there on my phone, and then put it into Mixcraft because at the time I was using that. Reaper's much better, by the way. And then just pitched it down, and like we put it to the beat, and it sounded funny. And Logan was like vibing with it, and then Pete was there, and Pete was like, "Dude, that sounds horrible." He was like, "That just sounds so stupid." And we were like, "Nope,
No, dude,
that
it's
sounds
perfect.
great. That sounds amazing."
He was like, why get around? That was his thing. He was like, the idea is cool, but why are you saying get around?
He couldn't take the fact that it was so random.
It meant nothing.
It had to have some kind of special meaning.
And I was like, well, let's think. Let's name the song "Town" because you get around town. And that was it.
That's it. Song done.
I don't know if he ever really came around to.
I don't know. I don't think he did either. The one thing I will contribute to Pete, big time on the album, is that as we were making Forrest's song, as we were recording Forrest's song, you can hear like a random, like a bunch of like yelling, almost. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, at the beginning.
Like as we were sitting there playing, like a rough, because we had a lot of these were started as like phone demos, right? Where we were just playing together and someone recorded on their phone. Like I was on the keyboard, and we recorded a pretty good take of it, but Pete was in the background on his phone watching YouTube or something, and that's what you can hear is just a random YouTube video. I listened to that phone demo so much, like as I was just going through all the times I listened to it, that I started liking. Like, it just had this cool, like, I don't know, it has a cool vibe as, like, it's just starting this, like, track. It almost sounds like a rap track, and there's just yelling, and, like, I don't know. It's where, in the end, we kept it.
Yeah.
And I just kept it mixed in there. And, like, so in the take you're hearing at the very beginning is the very first really take we ever tried of the song. Mm-hmm. And then it comes in with a more, perfected version of the track.
I think the way you justify that's live is like I said, like I know the bass is just that take,
yeah,
and that's what we reused, so it makes sense that it was all done at the same time. I would give Pete props also into Looks Like That's It, the last song, because he definitely gave some inspiration to part of the drum part when we were not tracking but programming the drums.
And as you're listening to that, like Looks Like That's It, like it very much is a real drum scenario, right, compared to any of the other songs. And he definitely was like, yeah, you should change this beat right here, and then here's a polyrhythm right here. Like he's just trying
put
out
in these accents, and he changed up the rhythm of like one or two of the parts. That's evident because my friend Nick, he gave me his top 3 songs, and one of them was Looks Like That's It. He said he liked the drums in that one. Specifically, he did this emoji, like the chef's kiss emoji. I guess.
Okay, he liked the drums. That's awesome.
And he really liked Natural Run 1, which is your favorite, and then he liked Water Damage, which I didn't say was my favorite, but I mean I obviously really like that one because it's my bass song.
Like I remember I had a question from Dan. Dan asked us what our favorite food groups were. I'd say my favorite food group is like donuts and baked goods. So what's that? Like, food group would probably be the bottom of the food pyramid, right?
Carbs sounds like carbs.
Yeah, carbs.
I don't know.
That's my favorite.
Baked goods is a good answer. Like
baked goods.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I would say protein, but there's certain forms of protein that I don't vibe with, especially fish. I can't eat fish. I could eat meat and nothing else and be totally game. Like
That's
pork,
insane.
chicken, steak,
Really?
beef, just not fish. I don't have the taste for it.
I didn't know you were such a carnivore.
Yeah. Pork chops have been my favorite food since I was really young. My mom has like a not a baby book, I guess, like a toddler book, because like when you're a baby you're not eating pork. Yeah. She has it down, like Logan's favorite food, he's like 3 or 4 years old, is pork chops.
Proclaiming it to be pork chops. Interesting.
And I eat them often. Like,
It's stuck with you all this time.
They're good.
But what's your favorite food?
pork chops for sure.
It is?
And I've eaten them like consistently, like weekly, my entire life.
It's Stu, who's now in Idaho. He just moved away, which is bittersweet. Stu, hope you're doing well. But anyway, Stu said, and I quote, "The bass and water damage is gravy." And I believe I responded to him and said something to the effect of, "Cool, I've never heard gravy." And he said he didn't mean to type heavy, but it auto-corrected to gravy, and he just went with it, and I love that. So I'm gonna start using that now. Like, dude, the bass in that song is gravy. If you ask the guys from the band formerly known as Grim Republic, and now the band known as Zero Hour, which is the other project that I work on, I use the term milk a lot, like the song is milk, or that's milky, or something, like a milky bass part or something. Gravy can be in there, like it's a different type of food.
It's a different state of bass. It can be gravy or it can be milky. You know, it depends on the texture. But yeah, that definitely has a gravy kind of feel. It's a lot more aggressive and like, you know, upbeat. Probably the milky would be more like, you know, something like more like chili hop or something.
The milky. And then the last of our write-ins of friends and family who put in their crowd favorites was John, who had told me he really liked Waldo and Willow.
Which surprised me.
It surprised me as well. And then he also liked Vanilla, which also surprised me too. It's always interesting. I'll look at it and be like, I think people are going to gravitate towards this one or these few. And then there's always somebody who's like, yeah, man, it's these ones for me.
Dude, that was the best one. Yeah, like I would say, like if I had to, you know, because when we're writing these songs, I feel like there's some that we just don't put as much time into, or, you know, like I feel like that's a part of writing music, is not using every single thing you use, or just maybe repurposing it later, like kind of like what we're doing with Volume 2. Like you have things to add to it that they weren't done. And then there's songs like Waldo and Willow. My goodness. Waldo and Willow. I always say that. Wallow.
That sounds so wrong.
Waldo and Willow. That song right there, As Long as Vanilla, the fact that that's his favorite, like two favorites, like those are the ones that I was like, they might not make the album. Like if I had to pick one, I was gonna say maybe take out Vanilla. Maybe, I don't know. I do like Waldo and Willow, but
it had a very nice start, and then we had no idea what to do with it.
Yeah.
And that ultimately ended up being, let's just take what we have, do the lo-fi thing, and copy and paste it over. We added a little blurb there towards the end.
And that was the one where we just pulled out that piano over there, right? And we're just like, let's like I just thought, you know, like just took a new chord progression, like a new chord degree of the song, and just put it in there, and then we inserted it, and like it felt like, I remember at first Logan was like, I'm not feeling it, dude. Like the beat is just not vibing with it. I'm not about it. And then I was like,
it wasn't bussing.
Yeah, it wasn't bussing. And then he kind of sat on it a little bit, and we changed some of the beats to match more of like what the bass is playing. And I feel like after he came up with the idea, he's like, put a record scratch in the transition. And after that, you were like, okay, I can go with it. Like
the hard switch wasn't jiving, I guess, but
the record,
another good example of just, we had that idea, we kind of like shoehorned some bass in, and we were like, sounds great.
Ship it off. Ship it off.
I don't know how you really decided to do that for the album artwork. I know all I said was like a blue background.
Yeah, well, you said, you wanted like a kind of, because I mean, once again, when we put Volume 1, we're already signaling that there's going to Volume 2. And you like the idea of a solid color, right, for each album. So we were like, light blue. You said light blue, and we did that. And you just sent me some pictures, some like professional-looking pictures of Waldo.
Those were off my phone.
It was a dude. And I just took some random, like, you know, some splatter paint, and then just outlined him and cut it. And that was the whole... And it looks great. And, well, you can see he's still a little transparent. Like, I made Waldo a little bit visible, but he's covered up by the paint, and it just kind of was a... very simple idea, but I think it looks pretty cool. I remember when I sent it to you, you were like, hell yes, dude.
Yeah, easy sell. I was instantly like, that's perfect. No notes on that for sure.
We'll see which, we might have a different cat
That's
featured.
what I was going to say. I think we've decided. We could say it's officially decided that the next Music to Work To volume will feature another one of the band members' cats. Waldo's had his, he needs a break. He's working hard out here.
You'll definitely see more of Waldo, though. He's still, he will never be gone.
He's never really...
Which song took the longest to complete? And I guess I was gonna wait till towards the end, but I'll say this now. A huge part of this project being done
Yeah.
in general, just finishing, has to be, hats off to you.
Like, I don't track anything without you here, but you certainly track things like on your own time too, and all the editing and sound effects and the video, like
The mixing.
the
video.
mixing, the video. That's what I meant by editing. But like, yeah, mixing, editing the video, drawing all those pictures, the album artwork. Yeah, hats off. Because without you, there's no shot this project would have been done, let alone be as great as it is. So.
Oh, I appreciate that, and I'd say a lot of the ideas too are definitely inputs from you. I feel like it definitely would not be nearly what it is either without some sick bass tracks and some idea to have a Waldo mask drawing things. So I feel like we make a good team.
Yeah,
the whole band makes a good team.
All together, we make a great musician.
Yeah, we make one musician. Especially with how much I learned with recording and mixing, that I feel inspired as of late to try to really focus on music and make more stuff. I just want to have more of a discography, and I feel like this is one step that was closer to it, and I learned a lot from just mixing big time. It was huge.
So I think you should answer this question then. Which song took the longest to complete?
I was gonna say that there's 3 contenders. It's either gonna be Enter Stage Right,
I was
because there was a lot of time aligning. Like,
If you would have asked me, I would have guessed that one would have been.
that one's definitely very likely. I would say it's probably it, just because it was a lot of me just on the grid, going through time aligning stuff. Takes a while, but it sounds sweet. And also, it's either gonna be Natural One, because that one just had a lot of clip. That one was a lot where I was taking in other random ideas, recording them separately and bringing them in. It was like trying out a bunch of sounds and ideas. I did that in Natural One. Or Looks Like That's It was the other one, just because that one has some insane drum parts that, because you went in there and programmed them all, and it was intense. Like, having Pete helped a lot with that song.
That song's, the drums started on Mixcraft,
Yeah.
and I was making them.
Yeah.
And I remember I showed you what it took me, I don't even know, like a few hours to make. And you not only recreated it in Reaper, but did it better in like half the time or
Reaper's
something.
definitely a big...
So that was huge. There's a specific drum loop, 200 BPM. It's not 200, it's like 90.
Because what Logan will do is, when he wants to practice bass, he'll go...
Played a drum machine.
He'll look up on YouTube just someone playing drums or like a drum machine. Like, I've seen you do someone actually playing drums too, right?
Yeah.
But you'll just, they'll say in the title what the tempo is, and then he just practices to that.
So there's a very specific one that I used to write that song. That's really good, drum sample. And I wrote it sitting in my room upstairs when I was like on a break from my internship or something. Like, I think I was like waiting to go into like a virtual court hearing or something.
Okay.
And I was playing it. And then I remember when it was done, or when I had finished, I remember I went and showed Pete. I was like, I really like this part. Like, this is gonna be like the next thing Nicky North works on. And I remember him saying like, oh, that's cool. It's pretty funky. And then it finally made it out there to be heard by someone. I mean, at least me. At least me out on the.
I definitely love. I actually, even though it took a lot of time, I really enjoyed programming those drums, because a lot of the fills were just kind of like, I remember just sitting there trying to match what Logan was playing on the bass. Like, whenever you do fills or things that fit the vibe of the song, trying to reorganize those fills, and I spent a good amount of time just playing with them, and I think they turned out really good.
And I mean, like we said earlier, Nick really liked the drums in that song. So again, props to you and Pete for sure. So
the very Neil who said one time that he was a Viking. So he said, hey, really good stuff there. I'm just kind of paraphrasing, He said he really enjoyed it. This is Neil, the Viking. He said honorable mentions to Water Damage. And Looks Like That's It for their funky styling. So just to say right there, the 2 ones that Logan definitely had the rhythm to, he very much enjoyed.
Neil sounds like a smart guy. Which song do we think would be the hardest to recreate live? Because you know, if the fans are begging for it, we're gonna have to play a couple of them live.
I'd say the one that I would want to play live, like I would say, let's play it live, would be Water Dance. Just because that one is super easy. Like, easily could have everyone play. Yeah, you're the only one who has the hard part. So, and you could play it, but
I don't think that one would be hard to recreate live because
that'd be a good one.
Because it's pretty basic parts, except for the bass is what it is. But obviously, it's like
it's just up to the bassist.
It's just up to me to practice it. It's not like I think of this question like what would be hard to recreate live as some of like the very
definitely it was the opposite
sound effects and things like that. Like that one, there's sound effects to a degree, but it's really just holding out chords and just like ripping on the bass, which is like you just got to practice it. That's not terribly hard.
Enter Stage Right and stuff. Some of those things like you can't create it live unless you have like Well, I guess if we had to create it live, yes, Enter Stage Right would be by far. Everyone's up there trying to drop the coins in the time. But open a car door to the. But I would say the most legitimately like to play live would be Natural One because I'd have to get good at I have my pedal, my Helix pedal, and I can actually do reverse swells. So I could even do the cool little reverse swells in there, but that one would be a whole production. It would be possible. That would be it would be really interesting and really fun to try to do some of these live.
Maybe we will mess around one day and do a live music to work to.
That would be just a post on our YouTube.
Yeah.
That'd be fun just to do for ourselves. I would enjoy trying to recreate some of that.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty fun to try.
Just to do a live version, hey, you guys, we're gonna try to play some of these,
we're gonna do a gyro show. We're playing music to work to. You have to bring something to keep you occupied. You can read a book,
some kind of work.
You can be
we want to see y'all out there doing work.
Nobody pay attention.
Nobody, do not look at us.
I think, that would be funny, but I think doing a live stream or just trying to play some of them live would be cool.
That would be cool. I really do.
Is that what you meant first?
I meant a live stream.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That
just us in the corner, that maybe dressed up or something, and just. Oh no, I think a live stream would fit the formula very well because it would show we're not doing any weird, funky things here. This is all of us, one take going live. That would be fun to do. Mark's the 6th member. He's to answer his lower question, he is the one. No, I'm kidding.
He is in the.
Kind of. That's what I was saying. Wait. Well, let's start from the top. Go ahead.
Okay, so he says, Nicky North's indie rock language can be heard through each of your singles and EPs, from all the way back in Finding Waldine
2019
to Regular Zero
2022.
And so he wants to know what inspired us to make a chill hop album that deviates from those roots.
And I'd say the main inspirations, a lot of them were, as we were going back and talking about earlier, a lot of them was just me and Logan happened to be around and no one else was around. We're like, well, what's easy to do? Just write some, keyboard. And I also wanted to play the piano. Was another one, just little chill piano riffs. And we love chill hop.
Yeah.
So we do love chill hop. I listen to a lot of it at work, and I was like, it'd be fun to just go off and see if we can make it.
Mm-hmm.
And and it honestly, a big part of it was, life is hard, and then you die, and there's plenty of there's
He's just nodding.
It's hard. We're and you only have so much time, and it's so hard to produce high value quality albums all the time it takes, to where I felt like chill hop is an art form that doesn't take as much time to produce.
With what we had, it was going to be a little bit easier for us to do a project like that.
Exactly, and it
still ended up taking longer than we thought it would. But
still took up 2 years. We said April 1st, 2021. So where do you see the trajectory of the band's style after the album? So post-album, I would say the big thing about it is I have learned through this album how to make my music sound better in Reaper or anything that I produce. Because I guess I'm technically the mixing and mastering engineer on the album. So I feel like it was this album that made me graduate from Mixcraft, because it started in Mixcraft. And I graduated to Reaper, and I'm much more excited to try to produce some more rock tracks now. You know, we got a couple on the horizon here that we're trying to pump out over the year. So that's how I would answer that one. And maybe I would also add on to that we might add some more electronic things in there, like maybe some synth, which we've done in the past. Like Vultures had a synth in it, and you know, Pigeon Neck.
Synth and keyboards.
I would say though that I learned more about different synth textures and different sounds that I'm excited to try them out in some of these tracks, like especially Glass Magazine or, you know, Institutional.
I think Music to Work To is basically just a glorified practice run for you to really
True, that's how it feels to
mixing
me.
things, which
And
is
quite
good
a bit.
because, you know, it came out and it sounds great. And if that was just like the tip of the iceberg of what we can do with Reaper, or what you can do with Reaper, I should say, then that's just awesome.
I think we can make good stuff, and I think if we focus on it.
For Mark's inquiry about like trajectory of the band's style, I don't really see the style of Nicky North changing so much. Like obviously adding some more textural stuff, which we'd probably just do as we evolve anyway.
We like to try out new sounds. I mean,
yeah,
we basically juggled between like, you know, funk and like rock. On our Bandcamp, I've been trying to organize everything, and for each album I went through and tried to tell a story in there just about it. I started realizing a lot of them are like the, you know, here's the half that's rock and here's the half that's funk. You know, you can tell where it's like the two styles are riding alongside each other.
We obviously have plans to do more Music to Work To.
Definitely.
But even in actual like tangible releases, we have more music that's not Music to Work To. It's like more what Nicky North is normally doing.
Yeah. Our normal sound, I'd say. Yeah, I would always say that Music to Work To is a side project that we just decided to release under Nicky North. Is truly
right.
The genesis of it, to where, you know.
And I think that was the right call.
Yeah. I think
it's cool to have it under the umbrella of everything that we've all done as a group. The only reason we're down here doing it anyway is because of Nicky North, so it deserves to be in that realm.
I'm pumped to make more stuff.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so then Mark goes on to inquire about what I would consider the lore. And this is the lore of Nicky
question.
North.
All right,
and this
let's
is
hear it.
why we saved this for the end.
Yeah, Pete, if you want to shout in some input. Nope. Okay, he's shaking his head now.
Okay, so he asks, is the mysterious cat, like the cat mask man, Nicky North? And we've definitely hinted at that, especially in the little
trailer.
The trailer video, because we're like, oh, Nicholas, we've had this before, and it is the mysterious Waldo mask, or cat mask, black cat mask.
It's hard to say for sure.
Yep. Over the years, people have been like, is Mark Nicky North? And you guys are the Cardinal Directions? Or who is Nicky North? It's a great question. I don't know if we have a great answer, though.
I don't know if we have a great answer. Nicky North is definitely a combination of everyone in the band. We do know in the Nickyverse that
Nickyverse.
Definitely the Waldo mask is called Nicky, right? We addressed it as Nicky. I didn't say we call him Nicky North.
That's good. That's a good point.
Nicky is definitely a character we write stories about. That's how I like to think of it. As Nicky North. He's a character, and he's been very influential in some of our, if not all of our lyrics. And I'll leave it at that. I'll say that.
I think that's a decent answer for a great question.
And
I would categorize that.
And we'll only be working more on the lore, so stay tuned to see, for the full feature-length movie.
Your eyes peeled and ears open, Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
You might drop some more lore at you. He asks if Nicky North, which I am assuming in this frame of mind he's thinking Nicky North is the cat head, which
he definitely is.
Just assuming
we'll take on that. Yeah. What is it called?
He's talking about Nicky. So
the first proposition.
Yeah. So does Nicky ever find Waldine, which I assume is in reference to the first EP? And he asks, does he ever find Waldine? He might be also reading that as Waldine. Kind of sounds a little bit more of like a feminine name, I guess.
He does. I think he is.
What is their relationship status? And how does Waldo fit into this equation?
Those are some good questions.
Great questions that
we haven't thought about, but we're gonna figure it out right now.
Waldine is one of Waldo the Cat's many nicknames. I have a ever-growing list on my phone of different names I decided to call him. And
Mark definitely called him that a lot. I remember around the time of the album, he definitely called him Waldine. It was his more formal name. Like Waldo's too casual.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got Rob and you got Robert. Like, Rob is Waldo, Robert is Waldine. Or Waldine, sorry. Mr. Waldine.
So, you know, so then you're really asking, because like the Waldo mask, it's obviously a symbol now to a degree, and it's
It is a
representing
symbol of the band.
It's representing Nikki, who
Yep.
whether that Nikki is Nikki North, is a
Whether
question for
Nicky
another
North
day.
looks like that and has like black fur and a
Yeah.
cat face, unknown, but he definitely, that's a good point. He is the symbol of Nicky North.
Yes,
He represents him, but, you know, we have,
Nikki is part of Nikki North, but I don't know if Nikki is Nikki North.
he never
We
shows
don't-
up to
we
the
don't know.
shows,
We
so
don't
we
know
just
yet.
have Mark fill in.
Exactly. So, I mean, really, that question is then, has Waldo found himself, or has Nikki found himself? Which maybe if you listen to the upcoming music,
You'll hear it in the
You'll-
lyrics.
you'll hear in the
We'll respond to you, Mark,
through song,
through song and music.
through serenade and song.
Somewhere in the next release, in the next year, you will have your answer. Even if it's reversed and quiet at the end of one of the songs. Maybe, Mark. We'll see.
He texted those to me today, and I was reading them, and I was like, "Dude, these are gold."
They
Like,
are.
they're
They made me
hilarious.
think, because now
Now we have to
we're
explain
putting it into
ourselves.
film, and anything that makes it to the cut is canon. So we got to be careful what we release. That's everything about the album. Like, I like, even if all of this doesn't make it to the cut, I like that you and I just talked about.
Yeah, like I said, there's definitely a few things I learned about
Yeah.
the album that I didn't know, and we freaking made it. So
It's all been
that's really
documented.
cool. You're Nikki North, and we're the Cardinal Directions, and I am you, and
you are me. I
them,
can't
and
believe we
are us.
actually started a show with that.
I love listening to the recording of practice right before that one, because that's how it does. I'm like, "Hi guys, you're Nikki North," and then you jump in and you're like, "And I am you, and you are we, and we are us, and they are all together."
And then we just start
And I
playing.
start playing the next song.
Yeah, thank you to anyone who sent me questions, and we will talk to you guys later. Sweet.
Love you.
Good stuff.